This is episode 4 of She Doesn't Know, where I talk about neuroscience, creative obsession, and a few questions for God. Episode 4 is going to be a very interesting topic for those of you who are trying to build a brand. And I want to take a completely different perspective on this. Instead of positioning yourself as just a product or a service, you anchor in it through frequency. Every brand gives off a certain vibration. Some give off calm, some bold, rebellious, luxurious, and playful. When you think spirituality is what your brand needs, you open up a portal that transmits that vibration into the lives of people who interact with it. Now, Tesla doesn't just sell cars. It sells future-forward innovation energy, and people connect with that. Spiritual branding means your company is the channel through which people connect with that energy. The product is the medium, but the true thing is how they feel. Ask yourself this: what energy does my brand embody? Then make every touch point, whether it's the logo, the social media, the packaging, the customer service, radiate that energy. And sometimes a lot of it is experimental. And I believe that we try too hard to create and curate and build on top of great ideas. We add hooks and content pieces and strategize, but the true meaning comes from what you feel on the inside. There are a lot of brands that are selling products who don't really live the life of their brand. If you're selling longevity, for example, and if you're stuck in your office working all day, are you truly living the purpose of your brand? How do you expect to reach out to the consumers or the customers? How do you expect to embody that brand when you don't live it yourself? Stories aren't just marketing. They're kind of like underlying spells. When you tell your brand story, you're invoking a certain state of being in your audience. For example, instead of saying, "This is organic chocolate," you say, "This is a reminder that pleasure can be pure, sacred, and nourishing." That instantly shifts chocolate from a product to an energy or a feeling. A spiritual brand doesn't just build customers, it builds a field. The people who engage with you tune into the same frequency. That's why community is so important. It amplifies the signal. When people buy in, they're not just buying a product. Once you understand the core meaning and the energetic space and frequency of this entity, which is your brand, you can then kind of move on into creative direction and visual direction for your brand. Branding comes way later on, after you've kind of tapped into the sacred core that is your brand. And most people who start big businesses or brands or trying to launch a product don't really get into the root of their brand or their product or what it really embodies. Have you ever met somebody and you instantly clicked? You had the same taste in music, the same taste in literature, you like the same movies, have similar hobbies. Well, that's because your energetic frequencies align with them. And they also align with those same hobbies that you're both interested in. Because everything operates on a certain vibration, whether it's a particular movie that you like, operates on a certain vibration, and you operate on a certain vibration. And for some reason, the two align. And that's also why you align with people who align with those particular things. So once you understand that pretty much everything on earth operates on vibrations and frequencies, you'll very soon realize what you should be prioritizing versus what is kind of on the surface and superficial. And while you're building a brand, it's important to understand that no amount of hooks, no amount of strategy, or no amount of deep research of how to sell to consumers is going to help you unless you embody the same energy as your brand. That's why I always say that it's absolutely okay to be the product, and it consists of certain DNA that both of you share. With that, it comes with a new qualities, new aspects, new characteristics that you have to start building from bottom to top instead of looking at everything from top to bottom. So forget about the design, forget about the branding, forget about the logo, forget about what kind of content pieces you need to put out. Just think about your brand, what it means, and build a kind of fictional story around it. Think about it as a world of its own. Where does brand A live? What is the landscape? What is the area? What is the world it exists in? Who are its friends? How does it connect to people? Does it do so by activities? Does it do so by conversation? Does it do through emotional bonds? How can we sort of put life into your brand is what you need to ask. If you noticed, it's very common that a lot of people and businesses sell things they don't even live by. I've met people who were pushing health supplements but were clearly unhealthy themselves. I've seen people selling luxury while their own lifestyle was the opposite of what they claimed to represent. And that's why it's so important to be closely aligned with whatever you are selling. Now, compare this with brands that thrive because the founders are living the product. Think about someone like Ben Francis from Gymshark. He didn't just sell gym clothes. He was in the gym, living that lifestyle, training, sweating, pushing himself. People didn't just buy leggings. They bought into an energy of his discipline, his obsession with fitness. Or look at Aesop. It's not just skincare. The brand lives and breathes ritual minimalism, intentionality. Every touch point feels like an extension of the founder's worldview. It's not an act, it is truly embodied. That's the real difference. If your only goal is profit and awareness, then just forget about it, because what actually works is integration. Being passionate, curious, and deeply connected to the product or idea that you're putting out into the world. Your brand has to solve for something much, much bigger than you. It should either serve a larger purpose or create a space that didn't exist before. And here's the truth. Your intention is the builder of your success. Always remember to check in with yourself and ask, why am I doing this? What is the real intent behind this decision? People can feel the energy of your intention way before they even touch your product. That's the energy that sells, not the empty shell of profitability. Because the truth is, most people can sense these things very easily. We like to assume that a good-looking product or something that's profitable or useful is going to sell in the market. But it's not just about that. And the more we head into the future, we want to see a sense of humanness. And when people say that I'm building a brand that feels personal, that has the founder integrated into it, it cannot feel performative, because we as human beings like to feel close and intimate and humane. And when you make anything transactional, it just feels empty and hollow. And this goes for UGC content. When I'm giving my product to an influencer to help sell it, I, as an audience, will instantly know that, okay, this looked interesting 3 minutes in, and then you're shoving a product into the screen. I'm no longer interested and I'm going to click out of it. And this was easy sell in 2020 when COVID hit and people had to sell their products. And I completely understand that, it went into survival mode. But anything that is in survival mode is not aligned with flow state. And I've mentioned this before on this podcast, but flow state is so important to be able to venture into anything creative. And not just creative, I also think that flow state is a state that allows you to receive everything and anything that you want in life. So if you want more awareness or you want more eyeballs on your brand, the most important thing is for you to get into flow state and get your brand into flow state, which means that you need to completely relax in the state that you are and really tap into what is the intention of your brand, firstly, what you are trying to achieve, and not just chase after it. But instead, you need to just sit in the place that you are, just explore, just create, think of innovative ideas, and just have fun. Because it's so important to have fun, and I've addressed this many times, but I'm all for workshopping fun into any kind of startup or brand building. And I think getting your team to sort of, experiment or do interesting workshops behind the scenes, create, brainstorm, do a back and forth is so important. I will not name the company right now, but I have been fired a couple of times actually because I am difficult to work with. And I'm not difficult to work with because I am not good at what I do, or I am too argumentative or opinionated, which I am. I just think that I come from a place of spiritual thinking, and I like to bring in certain concepts into how a brand should be built. And that goes against what people have believed so far. And it shakes up their whole reality. And people don't like it when you question what their beliefs are and how they've shaped and envisioned their reality. Because I believe that if you want to be successful, if you want to grow something from 0 to 100, you need to truly embody it. And I don't just mean blindly work from 9 to 9 every day, just trying to make money, because money is just paper at the end of the day. And it's very powerful, and it's going to help take you forward. But how do we get to the point of making that money? People don't often see that because they're so invested in statistics and results and numbers. While that is equally important, I also believe that addressing other sides of the business, which are intangible, are equally special. So let's do a little exercise together. Close your eyes for a second, unless you're driving, of course, and imagine your brand as a person, not a logo, not a company, but a living, breathing being. Who are they? How do they walk into a room? What is their vibe? Do they speak calmly? Do they joke around? Or do they challenge people? That's your brand's frequency. Now really, really tap into that. Really envision it, feel it, and look at it. Now imagine the world your brand lives in. Is it sleek, futuristic, warm and earthy, bold and rebellious? This is the stage you're inviting your audience onto. When they step in it, how do you want them to feel? Do you want them to feel grounded, energized, inspired, or healed? Here's the key, and you can't fake this. No amount of hooks or clever scripted content will replace being energetically aligned with what you are putting out. The reason those viral creators hook you instantly is because they're already hooked themselves. They're plugged into the energy of their own message. So the invitation is this: live the purpose of your brand. If your brand is about joy, run with joy. If it's about healing, speak and act with softness. Is it about rebellion? Then embody courage and bravery. When you become one with that energy and you project it out, people feel it instantly. And here's the fun part. Experiment, play, try things. Don't be afraid to fail in any kind of business venture. The most magnetic brands aren't born from spreadsheets or statistics. They're born from enjoyment, life force, and creative energy. Treat your brand like a playground, not some sort of a cage or restricted prison, because when you build from that space, you're not just selling a product, you're radiating an energy, and that is truly what people buy into. So if you want to take one thing from this conversation, let it be this. Your intention is the foundation of your brand. Build from a place of joy and life force and constantly keep experimenting. Live the energy you want others to feel. When you do, you're not just going to be selling something. You're going to be transmitting a vibration that people want to be a part of. And that's what makes a brand timeless. Thank you guys for listening, and I will see you in the next one.